Hi, thanks for tuning in to our Atomic-Moto dogfight, our comparison between the Alpinestars Scout Adventure Touring Boot and the Gaerne G-Midland Adventure Touring Boot. These are two popular models in our line. They're very, very different in their construction and design philosophy. They both work pretty well, very, very different price points also. We thought it'd be a good idea to do a comparison of them and hit the high points, aim at who they're for, tell you a little bit about who they're for and how they work, and also tell you how they contrast with each other, how they function differently. First of all, the Alpinestars Scout. The Scout is $249.95. It is available in sizes 8 through 13. It is one of the few boots that Alpinestars makes in Asia, Thailand to be specific. To be more competitive, Alpinestars, who is based in Italy, makes a lot of their footwear product over there, set up production in Thailand, and they build a few models over there. This one is one of them, Tech 3, Tech 7, I believe, and some others. The Gaerne G-Midland, like all Gaerne boots, Gaerne is wonderfully Italian. It was built in Europe, in fact, in Italy. A lot of the Italian manufacturers have moved to using satellites where they'll gather the materials and do some of the preparation and maybe some parts of the production like cutting in Italy, and they'll ship them over to Eastern Europe, to Croatia or Romania or what have you. In this case, Gaerne does not do that. They build them in Italy. The G-Midland retails for $367.95. That puts it near the upper end of the price range for adventure touring and dual sport boots. But it is consistent, that price point is consistent with Gaerne's philosophy toward design and production of boots. They're less willing to sacrifice their standards, their checklist for quality or for pricing. Now, as far as the construction of the two, the Alpinestars Scout is a waterproof boot. It is made with split grain PU coated leather. But that does a couple of things. First of all, the polyurethane coating on it does impede the breathability of the leather, which is probably not a good thing. It's hard to have a boot that is supposed to be waterproof and breathable, and then to coat the leather with something that essentially doesn't allow it to breathe. Alpinestars has said to us that they feel that that's not the case, but we're going to stand by our assessment that it doesn't really help the breathability of the boot at all. However, in reality, what the polyurethane coating does do is it actually gives them a nice, even surface finish over the surface of the leather, and it's pretty darn durable. This boot feels nice and substantial, a little bit stiff, but it feels actually also quite substantial. That's a two-way street. Feels a little bit stiffer, but also more supportive and protective than some other boots. And again, they bring this in at a much lower price point. The buckles used on this are really nice quality. They're metal. They're a little bit more finicky to use. It's not a male-female design like some other models. You have to actually clip this in and put it down, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to do if you have a helmet on or something like that. It has a decent amount of padding on the inside. I'm going to open it up here. It's going to take just a second. Has a decent amount of padding here on the interior of the boot, thicker padding in the ankle, and then a fair amount of padding all the way down through the foot chamber. So it feels pretty cushy on the inside. One of the drawbacks of this boot, and you can almost visually see it if I close it up here a little bit, you can visually see it's pretty narrow. The Scout is actually fairly narrow, and so if you have a wide foot, this boot may not be for you. You need to pay certainly a lot of attention when you're sizing it. It is a Goodyear welt construction with a nicely lugged sole, a nice rugged sole, nice pattern on it, and the boot is resolable. Goodyear welt construction is our preferred method of construction, and what I want to show you is that this is nice and rigid through the midsole. Now that is a little bit different, or a little bit more cumbersome for walking, but it is really, really good for protection and safety. And that is kind of the central theme, in our opinion. That's sort of the best part about this Alpinestars Scout. The combination of the more firm leather, the more rigid midsole, the hard inserts in the ankle area. You can't see them, but there's hard molded inserts here on the inner ankle and also on the outer ankle. Hard inserts here on the back and the heel counter. A hard insert here on the shin plate. The combination of these factors make the Scout one of the most protective adventure touring and dual sport boots out there, we tend to talk about how much protection a boot has and how much flexibility and comfort they have in a sort of horizontal scale, with which is one side being very soft, more like a street boot, more easy to walk in, and the other side being much more rigid and firm and like a motocross boot. The Alpinestars Scout is, of all the adventure touring boots we see, way over to the more protective side, which is a good thing. It works very well for large calves. You know, there's a lot of adjustment in this upper buckle. I can't really pull it out right now, but you can really get this boot to open up. So if you have large calves, this is great for you. It also, because of this extensive adjustability here, allows you to wear it with or without a motocross style knee shin guard. You can tuck pants in it if you need to, or wear the pants over. So the design of this is really well executed. In fact, this is probably the model for all the adventure touring and dual sport boots we have. Going a step farther on the big calf theme, you know, if you had to on this, you really could even relocate this buckle base and get it to just open up enormously. So that's another nice feature about this boot. Of all of the models that we sell, this accepts large calves. We'll call it a tie for the best. And ironically, the other product in that tie is coming up. Transitioning from this to the Gaerne G-Midland. It is produced in Europe, as I said. The material specking on it is more premium. They use full grain leather, a really nice large molded burn pad here. It has a plastic injection molded shifter pad here, a little PU coated piece here to protect the outer side of the toe. Goodyear welt construction for the sole, and just like the Scout, this one's also quite rigid in the toe, maybe a little bit less than the Scout, but it's still fairly rigid, and that is a good thing. We wish people would err more to the side of protection and look for boots that have as much protection and rigidity as they are willing to tolerate. That's the phrase that I like to use. It has, instead of a soft molded piece, instead of a molded piece inside, this has an injection molded plastic piece here on the outside of the ankle for ankle support and protection, and has a molded piece here underneath this nice leather burn guard, which is heat stamped, as you can see. The Scout uses 3 buckles. This Gaerne G-Midland uses 2 buckles. It's Gaerne's high-impact buckle design, which is really simple, really easy to use. Works with gloves or without gloves on. Whether you can see the buckles or if you can't see them because you have a helmet on, you're reaching down and trying to close them without being able to see them. Works whether they're clean or dirty. The buckles that Gaerne uses are simple and very effective, and they're great. The upper part of the boot closes with Velcro. This is one of the features that we're not thrilled about. We wish that it had a third buckle up here. We don't love Velcro, but the boot actually functions quite well. Continuing on the theme, I mentioned that it has a plastic shifter pad. It also has a really nice heel counter, and that is important. That's a nice feature on this boot, and it really helps protect the back of your foot. That's a really critical thing. It's fully waterproof. The G-Midland has quite a bit of padding on the interior. It has a nice firm density padding here in and around the ankle, and that padding continues down along, underneath the waterproof liner here through the foot area. So it feels really comfortable and cushy when you close it. Now, this boot is not wide like other Gaerne models. It is not narrow, and I want to be very specific here and make this point. It is not narrow like some other boots. It's certainly not as narrow as this, but it's not as wide as some other Gaerne models like the Balance Oil or Balance ProTech. And a little bit more attention has to be paid when you're sizing this, because it also is a little bit small, which is uncharacteristic of Gaerne. And so on this model, we typically recommend that customers go up 1/2 to 1 full size. But they weigh almost identical amounts. This one is 2.7 pounds, this one is 2.74 pounds, both for a size 9 boot. Almost identical. The feel of the two, the Scout, when you put it on, definitely feels a little bit more like a price point boot, but still very firm, well made. Doesn't feel cheap in any way. Definitely feels a little bit more rigid. This one does require break-in, and if you talk to people that have them or read reports from people that have them on the web, you'll see them attest to that, and that is really accurate. This one is a lot more comfortable out of the box. You put it on, And because of the softer, more pliable leather and the more sophisticated, more premium materials, it's just a little bit more cushy and feels a little bit more comfortable right out of the box. Another comment on the G-Midland. This will also accept an MX style knee shin guard and can be worn with or without, with pants tucked in or with pants over the top. And this one, because of the Velcro and because of this stretch panel here in the back and the sort of bevel cut shape to the top, this fits really, really large calves well. In fact, either of these two boots, if you got big calves, either of these two boots are going to work really well, better than any other model that we sell. The G-Midland, this one retails for $367.95. It is available in sizes 8 through 13. Once again, on sizing, pay a little bit more attention to it. Go up a half to one full size. The Alpinestars Scout is available from sizes 8 to 12. And the sizing is pretty true, pretty normal, pretty consistent with industry standards, true to sizes. Probably one of the biggest lies in the apparel and sports product industry, but I'll say it's consistent with industry standards. However, it is a little bit narrow. They are very, very similar in how they, in what their design and intent is, how they perform in the field, but they get there in very, very different ways. This one is a little bit more rigid in the upper than this. This is a little bit softer, more pliable, but they both have really, really good support in the ankle area, protection around the heel, which is critical, and then of course nice firm midsoles. A comment on that. This is a factor that is that needs to be made, needs to be talked about. People need to be more aware about it. You know, people don't give as much consideration to frontal impacts as they should, and so the ability to have a boot that resists bending at the toe if you have a frontal impact, that's an obvious extra safety feature. It does compromise the walkability of a boot a little bit, but again, you know, one of our goals is to make people aware and to get them to wear as much protection, as much coverage, as much support as they're willing to tolerate. So between these two boots, is there a winner? Most of these shootouts, most of these dogfights, we start from the perspective of the two products being pretty much equal, except for their cost and being sort of an equal value, bringing an equal amount of value to the market for how much they are. Frankly, I like this a lot. If it was wider, that would be that'd be a big asset. But between the two, even though this one is a big step up in price, I frankly feel that it is worth the cost. I don't think you can go wrong with either one, but I do tip a little bit toward this one, even backing the price equation out of it. So that is our dogfight, our bomber review, our bomber comparison of the Gaerne G-Midland and the Alpinestars Scout adventure touring and dual sport boots, two of the more protective, supportive, and hopefully safe adventure touring boots on the market. Thanks for tuning in. We are Atomic-Moto, www.atomic-moto.com, home of the bombers. We are mission focused on being product experts, learning as much as we can about the products, their construction, their materials, their design philosophy, the brands that build them, where they're made, the factories, etc. As much about that as we can so that we can take that information and pass it to you through our website, our videos like this, email and telephone if necessary. And we like to back up that product knowledge with the best possible customer service we have. Things like fast, free shipping, easy returns, no penalties or fees on returns, and just all around good customer support. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time.